I just want to introduce everybody today to my amazing friend. She is not only an entrepreneur and runs her own business about helping other companies create gamified courses so that they can complete them, but she also is a full-time mother as well. And she watches over her awesome boy who's growing up right now and kicks butt and does a bunch of workouts. And I just want her to go ahead and tell a couple of people how like her journey was in terms of getting back into fitness after having a kid and having to like do that all again, and how that process went for her. So with that, I'd love to start off and just ask how's everything going with fitness with you now, and how did that change for you, or where did that start out?
Now it's going okay. I would say it's like I do 3 times kettlebell trainings and 2 times Ashtanga yoga, which is like tough kind of yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I do now. And then it wasn't like that. So the way I grew up was like I was always doing some sports like fitness and aerobics and all those girly kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Up until I figured out that I was pregnant, and then that stopped. And then when my son was born, it was like a complete change, both the way my body changed. Mm-hmm. I mean, the way my body didn't transform back to the way I could.
Where did it go? Yeah.
And then also because I had been an entrepreneur before he was born, and up till now, mm-hmm. I prioritized everything mm-hmm. higher than my own health.
Yeah.
And so it took me like 4 to 5 years to get back into fitness. I mean, doing anything at all.
Yeah.
And just to get started, I thought I needed something really tough, so I chose kettlebell.
Yeah. I think that's so interesting because, when anybody goes back into fitness, I feel like their first initial thought is like, I need it to be super, super tough. I need to do everything all at once. And I need to like have the most rigorous thing to really just shoot me back over there. But I don't know, like, how was your experience? I mean, what did you think about that when you were like, I need the toughest thing possible, and then you went into it?
It was like that. So after the first training, we didn't even touch the kettlebells just yet. Of course, because we were like, puppets.
Yeah.
If I compare myself with when I started and now, mm-hmm. then I was like a puppet, or rather a slug trying to get down.
Like I keep doing.
Even the crawlings, or just your own body weight. And because for me, I also have to say that I have had a lower back injury, a pelvic whatever injury, mm-hmm. back when I was 10 years old. So after having my son, this back problem became even harsher. So there were times when I couldn't even lie flat on my back. Mm-hmm. After the first 2 to 3 months into starting training again, I could literally lie on my back and sleep fine.
No way.
So that was my first recognition that why wasn't I just starting earlier? Mm-hmm. Because of course, when you have your abdominal whatever, all those parts, your mommy tummy with you don't have the core strength to just keep you. Mm-hmm. So then all those pains and stuff came back, and when I started training, it just lessened.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, I will be able to do it.
Right? There's always like that moment of recognition where you're like, I can do this. I can actually do this.
Yeah. But those 2 to 3 months were like really tough.
Yeah. It's so interesting that it takes like that amount of time to even feel like you can do it, because it's like you have to go through this beginner phase, where you're just starting into it, you're trying a couple of different things, and you're not really sure if anything's going to work out for a while too. Yeah. How did you get through that? Because I think that, me personally, when I was first losing weight as well, it was like in the beginning, I would start something and then I would just instantly quit. And then I would start something up for a month and then quit. Like, how did you get through the first 2 months without wanting to quit and just stop?
So I made a contract with myself that at that time, I was 38 years old. Now I am 41. So I told myself that by the time I turned 40, so it was like, I tried to set a realistic goal because I didn't want to fail.
Yeah.
So then I said, like, I have about 2 years that I can get back my body that I used to have before the pregnancy. That was one thing. The other thing that I regarded those trainings as part of my me time, because even though I wasn't alone, because I was in a group, but I was with myself only. I didn't have to look where my kid was, if he was exploding the room or, just taking everything apart or whatever. So that was my me. I didn't even have to consider if I can do this or that. I just had to follow the trainings, and the harshest battle was that I had an understanding of myself from my previous life, so to say, that I could do all those things. So because I have been there, I have done that. I had the motivation. So once you learn how to ride a bike, you will be able to ride a bike always.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think that, like in the past, like you mentioned, you did a bunch of sports. I did a sport as well. Like I competed for swimming. And I think that just like any accomplishment that you have in the past, just like carries over into fitness. And then same with fitness is that once you accomplish something within fitness, you kind of feel like you can accomplish anything with anything else in life, And so it just kind of rolls over into each other. I love that effect that it's about having that confidence within yourself that, you know what, I've gotten through so much. I can do this, whatever it is, I've got it.
Yeah. And when I have like a tough moment with myself during a training or during yoga, because it's like pretty hard, stretching and bending and holding and whatever, then I have the idea that, okay, I have done something similar in life and I could pull it through. And then when I'm in my business and I'm in like feeling like cornered, then I know that I just have to breathe it through. I will be okay. I have done something like that to my body, feeling that tense or desperation or whatever it is. And I breathe it through so I could get to the other side.
Yeah.
I might not solve the problem, but I can get to the other side.
Right? It might not be like the way I wanted it to be, but I will get through it. That's the main
thing. Life wouldn't stop, so.
That's true, right? You can't stop regardless, so you might as well like flawless, just get through it. Just get through it somehow.
And there is always a second chance, like even in training. The other day you posted a video when it was something about even if you fail, you have to tweak your mindset, or I don't know how you said it. It was probably an Instagram story or something like that. And it really resonated with me. Even if I can't do it for the first time, working out is the best justification that you can do it for the third, the fourth, or the fifth round.
Right.
And so it's not like set in stone. Now you can't do it. You won't be able to do it anytime later. You just have to find your ways around it, like with everything in life. So this is why I really like doing sports, because it really teaches me about myself and my limitations and how I can overcome those limitations.
Right. The story that I think you were talking about was growth mindsets is to keep working through failure without the loss of enthusiasm. And I also said finding out how to do that is half of the battle, because of course we're all like, just keep working at it, because we know that as humans, like, if we're working towards something, as long as we keep going on it, we'll figure it out, you know? And the whole thing about growth is that even though you're going to fail a bunch of times, you have to still be enthusiastic enough to go back at it. But that's half of the battle. And I know that like you've gone through that so many times because like you said, sometimes you work out and like nothing works. You go in and you're like, I've got this. And then you start doing it, you're like, I don't got this.
Yeah, like that.
Right. And that happens to everybody. And I think that like sometimes people that are just starting off don't realize that happens. So they go and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. But it's like, even us at this level, you know, I know you're Superwoman. I hear about your kettlebells workout, so I know you're super.
Yeah, but then it takes time to get there.
Right. and many times I'm sure we've all failed at like so many things within it. So it takes quite a bit of time.
Even the other day, it was like last week sometime, I was starting out with my regular weights, but then I had the feeling of me getting too tired of it. You know, when exhaustion hits you in the middle of training, and then I just put down those bells and I grabbed the lighter ones because I knew that I didn't want to get injured. I was like really tired that morning, so for me to go to work out was like really something that I felt, okay, so now I'm there, so I can do.
Yeah.
And if I even beat myself over that I had to change for a lighter one, wouldn't help me.
Right.
Because the next day I went back and I said, okay, now I'm with my regular one, and I did like 50 more swings with my regular one than I usually do. So it was like one day at a time, but some days I'm like, yeah.
Exactly.
Not those days.
Exactly. And there's like a CNS system. And did you get that video that I had sent you with testing out like how much? That is definitely something that I think helps out, because at least you get to go into the mindset saying like, I know where my body's at, and I know if it's a day that like I should just take it easy and I won't hurt myself, or if I can push myself harder and it will be just fine. It'll be just okay, you know?
Yeah.
I
will use it on days when I will feel like.
Yeah. So now that you've started working out, you know, how does your son respond to like you doing all these workouts, and like how does he see that? How does he think of?
First of all, what I really like about him is that all of the kids are like copycats, so they want to do what the parents do. So when he got to know that I work out regularly, he also chose himself a training, and it was football, which is okay. Kids go and do football, whatever.
Yeah.
But then when he is sick or he has a school day off or whatever, and he comes to the gym with me, every time when we finish, he says, "Mom, I'm proud of you because you are so strong."
Oh,
and so yeah, and so this is also a thing that pushes him on as well, and it's so good that he responds to it like that.
Yeah, that is the sweetest moment ever. I'm like, I appreciate, thank you for sharing that, because I think it's so true. It's like your kids. I used to nanny for probably about 9 years. So I watched kids grow up as well. And it's so true that they just literally follow everything that you do. And so like if you're taking care of yourself and you're working out, it's like you're teaching them and their generation about like how to do that for themselves. And just like you get to bond with them in like the sweetest little ways.
And now that I have to, so I can be really open and boast about what happened just on my very last training, is that the group that I go to train kettlebell with, mostly women. There is only one man, and the coach is man, but then it's okay.
Yeah.
And then we had a pretty tough training. At the very end, the man grabbed the same bell as me, and we had to do like so there is a timer, and the coach sets the timer like 1 minute So, and you have to do, and the 1 minute beeps carry on till 10 minutes, and you have to do like 100 swings with the biggest weight you can. Wow. And we grabbed the 2 weights, the man and I finished it earlier than him.
This is like a high five through the screen.
Yeah. Awesome. So these are the moments, and it's not because it's a man, but because the bear was really, really heavy. So it was 28 kilos, and that is to be swung like 100 pounds, something. And I did it in 4 minutes and 32 seconds.
Oh my gosh, he's terrified. I don't think he's coming back anymore.
I don't know.
There's a reason why no guys are in that class. They're scared.
But I can't beat my coach, so he's like really strong.
Just give it another year. He's gonna be.
Yeah, you might be right.
I don't doubt it. That's so awesome. I love it.
Yeah. So that is my biggest accomplishment over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Working out, doing kettlebells, this one, if I have to say it.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you too. I know that
Me
is
too.
like
I just beat a man.
We did it. We're dominating the world.
Yeah, like that.
Oh, that is so awesome.
So it is not something to beat other women who are like,
we're all in this together, but those guys need a
yeah, who is always using like big bears, like 16, 24 kilos, and then you grab your highest weighing bell, and then you have to do like 100 swings, and then you do it.
It's not so easy. That's so funny.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that. And it's so true. It's like you just get better and better, and the more you push, the stronger you get. And it's like you said, it's not about like winning against somebody else, but like this is just you achieving more than you've achieved before, and just watching how much you've grown as a person and as the strength that you have, and ultimately just dominating the class.
And by the way, I have been always told to be a very strong personality, and I never understood why. No.
They knew it.
It was in my energy field.
They knew. They were like, oh my goodness, she came and she's gonna dominate.
Like that.
That was awesome. I love that. So it's been about a week now. I know that you had the pleasure, and I've been so grateful for you to be in the little group that I put together for the 30-day reset of happiness and health. How's that experience been for you, or has anything really helped you out with that, or is there anything that you'd like to talk about within that group that's helped you? Mm-hmm.
Sure. As you can see, my fitness part was on point already when I joined the group, but I was never sure about my portions and what to eat and how to eat. And the way you structure those meal plans helped me a lot, because then you really show that it's like one handful of this and then one handful of that. And then, so I don't have to scale it or like measure it out. Mm-hmm. In a way that is like almost impossible when you run a household. So it's not like you cook the dinner and then you put everything on the plate and then because you know that it's like your handful.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is what helps me.
Oh, that's awesome.
and how the variations can, when you feel like you are eating the same thing over and over again.
Yes.
So it's like everybody has to have like salmon steak and green leaves.
Yeah. It's so boring.
Yeah, it is.
I do a lot of like experimenting with cooking, so I'm really excited because I want to put like some videos in there about like different styles of cooking that are pretty healthy and are at home, and you can like play around with that too. So I'm really excited to upload those in for the group also. But I totally know what you mean. And sometimes you get so bored with the food that you have because it's the same thing every single day, and so it's nice to have like more people around to just say like, these are some cool recipes, or like try this out, or explore a little bit, instead of having like the same thing: chicken, broccoli this, chicken, broccoli that, or broccoli this and broccoli that.
Yeah, whereas I don't really like broccoli.
I know. Like, I mean, did I really have broccoli? It was, it's in the fridge somewhere, right? Somewhere, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to close this off, but is there any words that you want to put in, just to help other women that are maybe like had a kid and, they're just struggling to figure out how to stay on something, or they're struggling to just get back into being healthy in general because they're kind of lost in that field?
What really helped me was the way that when I really decided, so I was fat like a pig. I felt like I felt like a complete failure. But then when I made that contract with myself that I have this amount of time until I turn 40, which is like, okay, you don't have to wait until you turn 40 if you are just 20 something. But when you have a good enough reason and a long enough period of time, and you really commit to it, then on the way you can like hop on and hop off. But I have to tell you that I attended most of the trainings over and over again. So it was like, it really just had to be my son so sick that was lying flat, then I skipped it. But otherwise there were no reasons for that.
Yeah, exactly.
So this contract with myself that I will be able to do it.
I love that. Very cool. And I think that's really profound. Is like, I don't know, do you know who Tony Robbins is, or have you heard of Tony Robbins? So I know that there was one thing I was listening to from him, and it was changing a want into a must. And so it's like that contract was just changing like your want from I want to be healthier to a must, because you're saying this contract must be seen and proven to be true, and so it's being able to rewire that within yourself, and whether that be a contract or whether that be like a commitment to some type of thing, it's like having that is like a necessary first step to being able to get to that place you need.
Yes, but you really have to, so in your mind, you really have to commit to that contract.
Exactly.
You have to find it so important that you won't quit.
Yeah, exactly. Beat yourself up. I gotta do it.
Yeah, like that. Exactly like that.
Exactly.
At the beginning, it was really tough because, as I told you, I felt like a slug, like... But then when you start to have those easy early wins, then you move on.
Yep, exactly.
And you just have to move on, not up or higher or better or faster, but just move on.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Well, I appreciate all of the time that you've given me. I mean, it was such a pleasure. And I mean, you're not only an inspiration to like women that are struggling or trying to get that, but you're inspiration to me as well in terms of, how much you put into your business. I love watching your videos. I love the fact that you help people create these gamified programs so that they can build up their businesses and really allow people to have fun with like programs, which, you've really found and hit the jackpot with that, and so I just appreciate you and all your inspiration. And
I appreciate what you put together, because then I recognize that I do something really well, which is like when you are in it, you never really get the feedback that, you have got this. You are just going and pushing. But then your feedback means a lot more to me, because it's like you see it from an expert point of view, and you know, because you have gone through all the same process as a person as well.
Exactly. That's what I always tell people, is that the first step is realizing that you're there. And the second step is like not understanding why you're there. It's just moving through. And that's why you need somebody on the overview to say like, oh, this is where you're at. This is where you're at. You're so close. You're so close. Because, you know, it's hard to see that from an inside view. It's hard to see anything on the outside when you're in it. That's why it's so nice to have somebody out there. Like even me still, I need a coach as well, because I can't always see it. So I have my own coach, and it's just the fact that like we're really all in this together to help each other and make sure we get through something. And so I love that. And I appreciate that we'll all have that together, and we're all going to get through this together, you know, one step at a time. One sluggish move at a time.
Yeah, like that. Not that sluggish anymore.
Not that sluggish.
Some mornings, yeah, it's like
exactly. I love it.